I am from Kolkata. I'll tell you why the MBA part. I'm at a juncture in my career where I feel that it would be a good step and would give me a springboard to kind of get to a point where I would want to reach quickly. I am from an entrepreneurial background, so I'm guessing that is something that I would want to pursue down the line as well. And I mean, MBA would help me get to interact with a lot of people who are potentially the future leaders of, let's say, or future entrepreneurs. So I will get to, enhance my network and enrich my network. And secondly, I would also, imbibe some knowledge which would be necessary for me down the line in the entrepreneurship journey. That is primarily the two reasons why I want to get into MBA. My background is such that, I have done my engineering from IIT Kharagpur. After that, I joined Flipkart. After that, I started up on my own, which was a car rental company, which finally got acquired into another company called Indus Motors. And I felt this was a perfect time for me, where my story was perfect, and I would do justice to an MBA as well. So I got a 740 in GMAT. I was pretty much searching for material which was kind of targeted towards Indian students. There is not much available. A few lessons I found on YouTube were kind of focused towards Indian students and how they should approach RC, I think. There were certain principles which were mathematically guiding more than qualitative. It was more quantitative based, which I found really helpful. And thus I chose BYJU'S to go ahead with. I felt that the quantitative approach, which is for most Indian students, I feel the quantitative side of their thinking is stronger than the verbal part. Although GMAT does have a lot of logical questions in verbal, it is easier when we can think of it in a quantitative way. A GMAT teaching program where students would have been coming from all over India, and it would be very difficult to localize a certain number of students from a certain part of India. So I guess the second best option would be learning from a tablet, which is fine. I guess so. The structuring of it was in a way that was helpful. There were certain lectures at the end of certain questions, as in answers of certain questions, which was initially difficult to figure out, but then once figured out, it was a good way to kind of explain things. Learning through examples and explaining through certain typical GMAT problems was something that I found really helpful. Very different, I found. So RC to be quite helpful. RC, there were two parts of it, I believe, RC principles and RC rules. Both of them kind of were good in terms of lectures. I found RC rules more helpful for myself. For sentence correction, I found the grammar, the coverage of the grammar part really good, and the best part I found was basically dealing with the errors. The way it was structured was really helpful. I believe certain things that I followed. One was I tried to figure out my strongest point. Math, I am just eliminating math for now because I'm guessing most Indian students will not have a problem with math. So just the verbal section. So I feel my logical thinking is strong. So critical reasoning was one I picked up as my strengths. In critical reasoning, with good practice, I figured that there is a way in which even without understanding certain difficult problems, you can answer them. So I figured my own methods, and I came to a point where I could solve problems within 50 seconds. So I could get more time for the RCs. RCs were where I kind of struggled a bit in terms of time. So there I kind of tried to take time out of the CR and give it to the RC. RC, however, once I read through the passage properly, it was way more easy for me than in a kind of a tense time crunch kind of situation. Sentence correction is somewhere I guess I was not that good, but BYJU'S helped me get to the rules of grammar which was kind of specific to GMAT. There are certain rules of grammar I feel which are specific to GMAT and not specific to, let's say, the English language which we generally use in day-to-day life. So that way it really helped me, and I improved quite a bit in SC once I went through the lectures. So that was pretty much my strategy. I feel that the most important part of the BYJU'S course is pretty much getting the explanation of the answers. That is what I felt was most helpful for myself. Getting to know how to approach an answer, how to approach a question, and then the answer choices. So basically the problem solving of the questions which is given at the end of the questions, the solutions which are pretty much, solved in a way that is helpful for Indian students is something that I found helpful for myself as well. So that is the most important part I found in the BYJU'S course. When there is a bit of tension, especially for me. What happened was there was a time crunch as well. I was giving my GMAT before around like 1.5 months before the close of the first round of applications. So I knew that once this was the last chance I had. Like this is the first and last chance I had to kind of get a good score. So it's more difficult than sitting at home and giving an exam, especially the mocks that are provided by GMAT itself. There is a bit of time crunch, so it would be ideal if one can complete mock tests given you're practicing at home probably 1 or 2 minutes before the time ends. You will find it initially difficult to concentrate and get to the first question, or maybe if it is an RC especially, it is very difficult to approach it, I feel. And especially when it comes to English, after you probably spent a bit of time doing English second after quant, it kind of gets a bit messy in your head, I guess. I'm not very sure how to explain this.